Welcome to the Big Idea podcast, where we're focused on food. Today we're going to be talking to George from Cultimate Foods. They're working on using cell-based technology to create animal fat. And that animal fat would ultimately be used in multiple products as a way of improving taste. So let's get into the conversation, and by all means, like and subscribe so you can hear about new podcasts and new posts as and when they come. Thanks very much. Okay, George. Oh, it hadn't even started yet. George from Cultimate Foods, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Thank you, Andrew, for having me here.
You're very welcome. Thanks for joining the Big Idea podcast, where we're focused on food. Today, I hope we're going to get into everything about Cultimate Foods and you and your team, how you got started, why you got started, and what makes Cultimate Foods unique, special, and amazing. So why don't we start there? Tell me briefly about Cultimate Foods.
Cultimate Foods is a Berlin-based cell agriculture company which is developing amazing high-quality fat ingredient. We grow animal fat cells for food application. So our product can be used in plant-based meat industry, in cell-based meat industry, to be added in the formulas of the products like imagine plant-based patty, like Beyond Meat patty with real fat inside, and this is what we create.
Okay, so let me unpack that, because that's a lot of information. So Cultimate Foods is using cell-based technology,
yes,
to create fat.
Yes.
And the reason why is because you want to add fat into plant-based products to make them better tasting and juicier.
Yes, exactly. And of course, the first stage is to go into plant-based meat and create hybrid products by mixing plant protein with our fat ingredient. But we have, of course, outlook that our product, our ingredient will be applicable also in cell-based meat in future.
Got it. So let's dive into that just a little bit. You're saying that your cell-based fat is going to be focused on plant-based patties and meat products in particular. How big is that market? Is it an enormous market? Is it growing? What's happening to the marketplace around plant-based meats at this point?
So probably most of your listeners know a lot about plant-based meat market, and I do not want to speculate on this, because we were all promised the growing by 50% a year plant-based meat sector. And what we see now, yes, it's growing. Yes, the adoption is increasing, but people need something better tasting, because they are not convinced with the alternatives to meat that are on shelves now. And we are actually the company that is helping this market to unlock this great potential.
Okay, so enormous market potential, hasn't yet realized the full potential. It's growing every year, mainly because the products that have been produced haven't delivered, haven't given the full sort of experience that people are expecting from a meat product. So when they go and buy a plant-based product, they want that experience to be there also. So you guys are helping to solve that equation. You're helping to make plant-based products better and more sort of like the traditional animal protein.
Yeah.
Cell-based. Take us through that. Is it yet a fully viable technology, or is it something that has a certain lead time in terms of development and scalability? What does that sort of journey look like at this moment, cell-based fat?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I believe that cell-based fat would be the first cell-based ingredient on the market because it's the most value-added part of meat, I mean fat. Yeah, and that's why a small proportion of such an ingredient can make a huge difference for the end product. But if we speak about fully cultivated steak, yeah, 100% cell-cultivated patty, I think it needs some time to come because the market was also a bit overpromised by companies to deliver these steaks 3D printed or cultivated in 3 years, and all the time it's in 3 years. Yeah, it haven't yet. It's not yet on the market, and we believe in a pretty pragmatic approach that we should go and work with the already available technologies, and by creating fat, we accelerating this transition from animal products to animal-free products. And the crucial part here is to convince meat eaters. Yeah, and if people who are going for plant-based meat for ethics or for health, they just buy the available plant-based options, but meat eaters, which are the majority of the market, they need to be convinced. And fat is going to be this ingredient, cell-based fat, that will reach this audience. Yeah, but as I said, unfortunately, 100% cell-cultivated steak, it's maybe the matter of a decade.
I don't know. I agree with that, honestly. I don't think I agree. I don't think I agree that it's 10 years away for cell-based meat. We've got various companies working on it and different aspects of it. I don't think it's that long to be. I would suggest it's much faster than that. But let's get back to bringing cell-based fat to plant-based products. From Cultimate's perspective, when do you think, or when are you guys targeting having an ingredient that can be scaled to the point where you can add it into a plant-based product and have it as a much better product overall? Is it a 2-year cycle? Is it a 1-year cycle? What's sort of the target at this point in time?
Yeah, so we target 2025 for making doing a soft launch of our ingredient and to bringing it to the market to give people a try. But what we do already now, we produce samples which we deliver to our partners from food industry, and we do experiments with the product formulations. For example, we ran a pilot with a German ingredient company which is focusing on creation of plant-based meat formulas, and we have with them agreement that we will do together these experiments by bringing our fat, and they will incorporate it in the formulas that they create for companies and sell them B2B. This is what we already doing. So we will see our fat in end products already this year, but of course it's gonna be like experiments and maybe tastings. Yeah, but in terms of market launch, we believe 2025 is a realistic timeline.
2025. So let's talk about your sort of key target audience, your channels of distribution. It's going to be an ingredient, a fat that gets added to existing formulations. Are you thinking that you're going to sell it to individual manufacturers, like patty manufacturers like Beyond Impossible, etc., or is it more as an ingredient where you're selling it as an ingredient to ingredient providers who then will sell it to, throughout the industry. What do you see as your sort of core customer set and your core distribution channels?
Yeah. Now we have already a pilot with a customer, and it's one of the food corporations, very well known, and we deliver them our samples of fat so they can assess the quality of the product. And the thing is that they have in their product portfolio plant-based meat line, and we see us ourselves as a partner of them. We can be the supplier of ingredient as a fat ingredient, or we can also do our business by licensing and co-creating maybe a revenue sharing model together with them. What we definitely don't want to do is to start building multi-million, billion facility and promise it to deliver and to start to produce it on a huge scale. We think that in current conditions, it's better to utilize the equipment and the facilities that already exist and to go in partnership with companies, because we have our strong, robust technology and we create fantastic fat cells, which are from which we can do a high quality fat, which is like Wagyu grade, and this is our core competence. But we're not like engineers or producers or food manufacturers. So for us, the faster way to market would be to go together with such a partner which has everything already in-house and to launch a product together.
Perfect. So you're right. We've seen companies in our space who are looking at how do they bring their ingredient, their technology to market. Some of them have chosen the route and the journey of creating their own manufacturing facility, which A, requires a significant amount of capital, and B, requires them to completely change their business model from being the innovator to being the producer, and that requires a significant team. It requires shift work where people are sort of manufacturing that product over in 8-hour blocks throughout the week. It changes the model completely.
Absolutely, I've been there. Like I've had a plant-based meat company. We had a facility, we had a plant to which I had to go for 3 years, almost every week, and to see what's happening in there, and the number of problems you actually tackle all the time as a producer is it's huge, And what I want to do, I want to create products, create solutions, and bring it to market in the most efficient way. That's why we are not going to be like a huge food producer, but rather developer of innovative products.
So do you see yourself and Cultimate's role to get the technology to the point where it's scalable, and then find a partner who will either license the technology or work with you on scaling up the technology? So you'll bring the technology, they'll bring the capability around scale up, and you'll then partner to bring that ingredient either to that company or as a product jointly into other customers. Is that the model, either licensing or co-production?
This is the vision, like to scale up the technology up to a particular a level, and not to go further because it's not our area of expertise, and we do not have to focus on that. And what we do right now, already at earlier stage, to prepare for future scale up, we are talking to such a potential partners. And one of them is in Germany. It's an equipment producer which is producing fermenters for breweries. And another company is in Switzerland, which is also going to be like a facility with bioreactors where we could scale up with our process. And the most important is that they already have engineers, bright engineers. They already have all the knowledge to create scalable bioprocesses. Yeah, and what we need to bring a piece of technology that can be adapted to bigger volumes.
So let's talk a little bit about what you guys and your team are specifically doing, and some of the challenges you're solving and starting to tackle. Cell-based fat. How challenging is it to create and scale, from your point of view, cell-based fat? What are some of the problems or some of the challenges that you guys are focused on solving?
Yeah. So cultivated meat industry is challenging indeed, and I believe that the recipe is not to try do everything in house, but rather use the solutions that already exist if they work well and they're pretty efficient. But it's very important to pick your battle in the company and decide on what is your strong technical focus. And we decided internally that we are going to be the guys who can create high quality fat with a rich lipid profile from almost any cells that we can get. Yeah. So, for example, we go and we isolate we go and get a piece of tissue, and then we isolate stem cells of it. And then our area of expertise is to take these stem cells and create the best fat that exists in the nature. And if we speak about types of fat, there is a fat, for example, which is under skin. There is fat which is called intramuscular, and there is fat which is called intramuscular. And the latter is actually the best fat that you can ever get. And this is the fat that you can find in the Wagyu steak. Yeah, this one in between layers of muscles, and it's marbling. It has much more monounsaturated fatty acids, and this is our benchmark to take stem cells and to make this intramuscular rich in lipids fat, and to bring it to the alternative meat industry and create delicious plant-based hybrid meat of it. Yeah.
So that sounds great. You mentioned not wanting to sort of reinvent the wheel, not taking all aspects of what can be done around cell-based fat and trying to do it yourself, but sort of finding best-in-class technologies and what's already working. Give me more, simply, if it's possible, what's unique about Cultimate? Because if you're saying, hey, there's lots of different parts to this puzzle, and people are already doing well in certain areas, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. What are you guys bringing to the table?
Yeah, so we are focusing on the process of differentiation of cells from stem cells into fat cells. Yeah, and this is where actually the quality appears. Yeah, and what is more important, we have chosen the right benchmark. Yeah, so to create the to create great fat, you need to understand what should be the lipid profile of this future fat. Yeah, and what we did did our research, we examined, and we found the target benchmark product that we're going to create. And then we work in our laboratory to push these stem cells to become this particular fat, which has particular lipid profile and, of course, flavor intensity. And this is what is our like a main focus is like a rather quality than, would say, quantity. Yeah.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment when it comes to plant-based meat. Why is it necessary to create an animal-based, or rather cell-based fat solution to add versus adding a plant-based oil or some other sort of plant-based iteration to add that sort of fat or that oil aspect? Why is a cell-based / animal-based solution needed?
Yeah. So the main goal is to convince the meat eaters, and it's very, very difficult because people try plant-based meat if they do not have any other idea, some, I don't know, like ethical points of view on the industry, or some I don't know, like a health problem, then they would probably not buy again plant-based meat. And this is proven by surveys and recent research. So for us, it's very important to bring the product which is 100% identical to what people already got used to. And that's why it's the only way is to create same product, but without animals, yeah. And cell-based technology allows us to do it, unlike others. And this is the main problem that we solve, yeah, like a taste and texture of the alternative meat products that are currently on shelf. And there are other aspects which lie in the area of production of this plant-based meat. As I mentioned, I've had experience in producing plant-based meat products in my first startup, and plant-based oil actually brings a lot of problems to producer because it's not the right component for let's say a meatball or a patty. Even while it's transported after production, for example, it leaks out of the product. You need to think about stabilizers. You need to think about prices as well, because high quality coconut oil is actually pretty pricey. Yeah, and then you need to hide the aftertaste of this oil with what? Of course, flavoring, which is much more expensive than oil. And this is a devil's circle. Yeah, you need to hide this taste, and you use more flavor, and it increases your costs further. And so there are many problems also on the side of producer, and the consumers, they also want this. Yeah, they also want the real experience.
Wow, lots of parts to that. You're exactly right, George. I get sent lots of different plant-based products to test, and often they'll arrive and you put them in the frying pan and they just leak out oil around, it just sort of leaks out around the product, and it looks really unappetizing, nothing like the real, and I don't want to say real thing, but nothing like the traditional animal protein. On top of that, as you say, they're often using coconut oil, and or other oils. There's often a sustainability piece to that as well, because as we increase our consumption of coconut oil and other oils, we're having to cut down, indigenous forests and so on in different parts of the world. So there's a big sustainability challenge, even moving in that plant-based direction. But I think it comes down to taste. It comes down to, we spent multi-generations determining what we like to eat as a species. Mm-hmm. And people, if they've got certain, either, as you say, health or sustainability or ethical demands, may move away from traditional meat. But what we're really trying to get to is the 96, 98% of the population who today eat traditional meat will continue to eat traditional meat unless they're given something which is identical in terms of taste and bite and chew and texture and juiciness to the original product that they've grown up with in their families.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's my co-founder. She's been working for years in animal welfare promoting organization, which is called ProVeg, and she's vegan herself. And she told me when we have been starting Cultimate that she's a bit tired of trying to convince people to eat something which is odd for them. Yeah, something which they don't really want, and she understood that the only way is to bring same thing but produced in different way. Yeah, but 100% agree. People want the same experience.
So you mentioned a couple of times that you started another company in plant-based before Cultimate. Let's talk about how Cultimate got started. Who sort of had the idea, who thought that there was a gap or a need that wasn't being serviced in terms of bringing better quality fats to plant-based products, and how did you all get started as a company?
Yeah, it all started in the late 2021. By that time, I already exited my first startup, and I was thinking about what I'm going to do next. And then I approached my current co-founder, Eugenia, and just proposed her to think together about white spots, gaps on the market, because she has a lot of expertise in alternative protein, as well as myself, and we just been sitting some evenings and the weekends talking about the industry, also meeting other people from there, from investors, from producers, and what we've learned is that there is a big problem, which you already mentioned, which is taste. Yeah, and it was like proven by everyone we talked with, and then we started to think, what can we do to solve this problem of taste? Yeah, and we've been doing ideation and also reading about meat a lot, and we've learned that the fat is the most important part. Yeah, and we thought how we can create the same thing as animal fat, and of course, like the only way is to go with cultivated technology. And I also attracted some people from the industry. We discussed together how we can create it. Is it feasible? Is it possible? And now, for example, two people who used to work previously in other cultivated meat company with whom we had talks that time. They are working with us as a cell biologists, and we are super happy to have them. Yeah, and this is how it started, and then it was a pretty pretty fast movement in the beginning of last year, 2022. We announced the company because we already had a team. And on the 21st of February, we registered our legal entity in Berlin. And on actually 24th, we all woke up in completely different world. And imagine me having a Russian background and my co-founder being having Ukrainian roots. We were like just devastated, and it was pretty much difficult time in the very beginning. But we figured out everything. Like we could manage to keep the team, to raise the first money, to go through 2 great accelerating program, ProVeg Incubator and Big Idea Ventures. And here we are now, like six people in the company, and having already a lot in terms of traction.
So a person with Russian background comes together with a person with Ukrainian background, based in Germany, to build a team and make the world a better place with cultivated fat. That's kind of a headline, right? Question for you: if Cultimate achieves everything it can, everything you want it to, everything Eugenia wants to, where do you see the company in 10 years' time? Everything works out to plan, or everything works beyond plan. What are you guys going to be doing in 10 years' time?
It's very like a serious question, because I feel myself as more like a serial entrepreneur. And when I was starting my first company, I never thought that it's my first and last company. And for me, it's very important that what I create is then have some future after that. And for example, with my first company, I know that they increase the product portfolio, they have new people coming, they have new machinery, and it's developing. I'm very happy. I feel like I have a child, like a baby, which is grown up, and now, And with Cultimate, I believe that it will be also a success story. And for me, as I mentioned, important that it's developing and it's making impact. And I can imagine different scenarios. I can imagine that we, in 10 years, will be still developing new products in Cultimate and bringing them to market together with food industry partners, or our technology will be incorporated in the value chain of other bigger company, and it will work there and will make its impact.
Fantastic, George. I've only got 1 or 2 more questions at most, so thank you for your time today. What can people do if they're listening to this to support you and Cultimate in your journey? What sort of help are you looking for from listeners today?
So right now we have already formed our fantastic team, but in the second half of this year, we are aiming to close the next fundraising, the next round, and we will be definitely expanding. So I encourage everyone who's mission-driven, who feels that he or she wants to work for a better world and want to create super tasty alternative meat products, to reach out to me. You can find me on LinkedIn easily, and to just to say hi. I think you're doing great things, and I believe I can contribute to this and to become either our partner or our even employee. So yeah, we are always open to talk to people. Also, we are now talking to many plant-based meat producers, and for us, it's worth to get another opinion from people from industry. So I'm super open to talk to people, even if you want to tell me that we don't need your fat. We produce vegan, super delicious patties. They are great. Yeah, I would talk and learn why you think so. Because we've had different conversations with different companies. Yeah. And as I mentioned, we are going to start raising the next round. So it's going to be already like pretty big amount of money. And if you feel that you want to join us in this journey, please reach out to me and we can talk about it.
Amazing. George, give us your LinkedIn profile. Is it Cultimate Foods? If they did a search on Cultimate Foods, they would find you on LinkedIn, or is it more you as an individual? At which point they're going to need your spelling and so on.
I believe if you type George Cultimate Foods, you will find me as the first result on LinkedIn.
George Cultimate Foods. So CULTIM as in mother, ATE Foods, Cultimate Foods. Also, obviously, you've got cultimatefoods.com. I'm guessing they can contact you through that website as well, right?
Well, yeah.
Amazing. George, thank you so much for your time today. We love what you're doing. We love you guys. The team's incredible. We're looking forward to kind of being part of your journey. So thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Andrew.
I'm going to press pause and then we're out. Thanks, sir. So I hope you enjoyed the conversation with George from Cultimate Foods. By all means, reach out to George directly at cultimatefoods.com or via LinkedIn. He gave you the contact details. I'm Andrew Ive. I'm the founder of Big Idea Ventures and your host for this podcast. In terms of reaching out to me, you can get via bigideaventures.com or via LinkedIn, Andrew, middle initial D, last name Ive. We're focused on finding the world's best entrepreneurs, scientists, and engineers solving the world's greatest challenges. If you're an entrepreneur, reach out. If you're an investor interested in innovation, please do reach out. And let's make this world a better place for everyone. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.